So there was a question about how I know what's going to be popular. And this is kind of the thing where it could be you just know your audience and you really know what people are going to be searching for, like what the next big thing is. That's always kind of a risk. And in traditional publishing, they say things like you don't want to try to game the market or time the market because you'll never catch the trend. You won't be fast enough. But that's because traditional publishing is a little bit slow. With indie publishing, trends actually last several years. So when I say that like dragons are hot right now in 2018, they started kind of at the beginning of this year, and they're going to be popular until 2020 or so. So it's not. I mean, you could write at least one dragon book by then if you want to. If not, many. But the reason to do it, here's the keyword search I just ran through KDProcket. If you don't have this tool, you can find something similar. You can do some free keyword research. I like it because it just tells you what people are searching for, so you don't have to guess, are dragons going to be more popular than mermaids, vampires, or whatever? And it makes a big difference. For example, mermaids didn't used to be very popular, but right now, probably because of movies such as The Shape of Water, the searches have gone up quite a bit. My mermaid book is actually selling a lot better than it should be, mostly just because the audience is looking for it now. And I wrote it a couple years ago, so I actually kind of wrote it early, and I knew when I was writing it that mermaids were going to become popular because I knew that they were planning a new live action version of The Little Mermaid or something like that. I heard there was in the production something like a reverse of Splash with a guy as the mermaid. And I didn't realize when I watched The Shape of Water that that's kind of what it is. But now that there are some major motion picture movies coming out, people are more interested in mermaids or searching for it. So that's one way you can keep tabs on, what are the big traditional published authors doing? What are the big movie industry, movie series doing? Like what's going to be in the popular attention for the next 6 months or a year? What's everybody looking forward to in your genre? What's the one thing they're really excited about? You can kind of have your pulse on things, but you can also kind of predict pretty well what might become popular. I told everyone for a long time that vampires were the way to go. Just write vampires. And I ignored my advice for a long time. Now I'm writing a vampire book, but I mean vampires will always be popular, so it's always a good bet. But they're not as popular right now as they have been. Even though like most of the best-selling stuff on Amazon right now is still vampire, it's not necessarily because readers are searching for it. It's because of big authors like Bella Forrest, who has 70 vampire novels in his series. So they're really fans who want her books, um, even if they're not really into vampires anymore. Even so, vampires is 8,500. Dragons, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is about 25,000. So it just means there are a lot more people interested in dragons right now than there were 2 or 3 years ago when this wasn't as high as it is now. Other categories that are hot right now are reverse harem. So that's something that people are searching for. It's about 10,000 people. So for example, and a lot of my friends are doing this, if you write a dragon shifter reverse harem novel, that's a pretty smart thing to do right now because there's a lot of readers searching for those. And the thing about readers is they're not looking for one reverse harem dragon shifter novel. If they like that and that's what they want to read right now, they'll read 5 or 10 or 20 of those books. So if you have one of those books in the top, if it shows up or if it's in the category for reverse harem dragon shifter novel, that's a pretty good thing to do. And I've seen friends this year who maybe weren't selling very well and they just launched a dragon shifter reverse harem, or they just branded it a little better, or they relaunched um, something. But you can intentionally write books in popular markets, and they don't go away very quickly. Like I said, they usually last about a year. So you could still get in on this trend. You still have to write a really good book and write it better than like a lot of what's out there. You can't just write crap stuff to try to hit the keywords. Actually, you can, and you probably do reasonably well. Like it's almost better to have an okay book, like a not bad book with a decent cover, that's about dragon shifters and reverse harem. If you have one of those, it'll probably outsell by a huge amount um, something that's a fantastically written, beautiful book that's just not about dragons or reverse harem. Or if it's not what people are searching for, they won't find it. And even if they find it, they won't like it because it's not what they want. So I think hitting the right category and the right keywords and the right genre is probably more important than the quality of the writing or the quality of the story that you're telling. However, of course, you want to put out your best work, and you want readers to be happy. So I don't always focus on like, is this the best book that I can possibly write? Because I don't believe writing a book slower, like spending another year on it. I don't think that's a good idea. I think, once the story's done, cleaning it up and fixing the writing probably won't make a huge difference actually on sales and also on reader satisfaction. But my main aim for all my books is I want readers to be satisfied. I want them to be happy with it when they finish it, and to be, everything they hoped it would be and more. That's a difficult thing to pull off, but that should be your intention. You want to, whatever kind of book you write, you want to try to make readers happy. But if you write a book in a popular market where there are more people searching for it, more people are gonna be they're gonna find it, and more people will be satisfied. If you deliberately write a book for a kind of reader who's looking for a kind of thing, it's a lot easier than just writing a book and then trying to convince readers that they're going to enjoy it when that's actually not the kind of book they're looking for. Anyway, so a lot of it is just, it's smart business, but also ultimately you're providing a satisfying reading experience to more people. And of course, as an author, you deserve to get paid commensurate to how many people are enjoying your books. I believe that that's kind of how much value you're putting out in the world. I think that's how much you deserve to get paid, not, how good the writing quality of this book is or how much time did you put into writing this book. It's ultimately about how much value you're putting out. Anyway, to finish up quickly, I'm not sure if I showed you all these tabs. Werewolf or werewolves was the other one. I wanted to see if it was still kind of popular. And it seems like it's down to about, although it's interesting, this kind of thing where in KDProcket, it says the search for werewolf is 64,000, but the search for werewolf romance is 21,000, even though it has the same um, keyword, which is why using a keyword tool like this can be really illuminating with KDProcket, because I might think, oh, I want to make sure I put the keyword werewolf in my book description pretty high up, so that I rank when people are searching for werewolf. But if I didn't have KDProcket, I wouldn't know that I would get so much more visibility just by including the word werewolf romance and putting that into my description in bold or whatever. There's ways to kind of increase the chances for your book to show up with certain keywords, but first you have to know what the keywords are.